Hello to all wonderful, beautiful souls from Adi Sweta. I have something really mesmerizing to talk about today. It is the empathetic telepathy, the silent language humanity is beginning to remember. What if I told you that the greatest revolution in human history will not happen through artificial intelligence, or quantum computers, or even the next technological breakthrough? What if the next revolution is consciousness itself? Not because the world around us is changing, not because the one observing it is also. For thousands of years, humanity has perfected the art of speaking. Yet, very few of us have mastered the art of listening. Not listening to words, listening to consciousness. Because beneath every opinion, every belief, every identity, there is something infinitely quieter. A field that has never argued, never competed, never needed validation. Perhaps what many traditions have been pointing towards is not a destination, but a remembrance. A remembrance that consciousness is not something we possess. It is something we participate in. Imagine for a moment that every human being is like a tuning fork. Each thought we entertain, each emotion we cultivate, each intention we choose creates a vibration. Some vibrations are dense. Some are expansive. Some keep us imprisoned inside our own stories. Others allow us to see life from an entirely different horizon. And maybe that is why two people can witness the very same event, yet walk away carrying completely different realities. Reality is not what we see. It is the frequency from which we are seeing. This is why inner work has always mattered. Meditation was never simply about becoming peaceful. Silence was never simply about reducing noise. Awareness was never simply about relaxation. There are acts of refinement. They gradually tune our consciousness until we begin perceiving what was always present but rarely noticed. Not because the universe suddenly started speaking, but because we finally became quiet enough to hear it. What if humanity is slowly remembering a form of communication that existed before language itself? Not words, not symbols, not even thoughts, but resonance. The effortless recognition that occurs when two beings meet from authenticity. Perhaps we are moving towards what I like to call an empathetic telepathy. Not the ability to invade another person's mind, but the ability to understand another person's humanity. A form of communication where souls no longer feel compelled to convince one another, where agreements is no longer the measure of connection, where we can completely disagree and still honor the sacredness of another person's journey. Imagine conversations where the deepest statement is not spoken aloud, where presence communicates more than explanation, where respect becomes louder than opinion, where silence carries more wisdom than endless information. Perhaps this is where humanity is heading, not towards louder voices, but finer perceptions, We often imagine evolution as something physical, a stronger body, a faster brain, a more sophisticated machine. But what if the next evolution is emotionally intelligence, refined into spiritual intelligence? What if empathy becomes the bridge between individual consciousness and collective consciousness? Because empathy is far more than feeling another person's emotions. It is recognizing that every being is carrying an invisible universe, a lifetime of memories, unspoken grief, hidden courage, dreams waiting to unfold. When we begin seeing people this way, judgment slowly loses its grip. Compassion becomes natural. Understanding replaces reaction. And suddenly, our own frequency begins to transform. The beautiful paradox is this: the more deeply we understand ourselves, the less separate everyone else begins to feel. Perhaps this is why so many people across the world receive similar insights at the same time. Artists create the same ideas. Scientists discover similar truths. Mystics describe remarkably similar experiences. Maybe consciousness has always been less like separate islands and more like one living ocean. Each of us is a wave, appearing unique, while never truly being separate from the whole. Every choice we make sends ripples through this ocean. Every act of forgiveness changes its current. Every compassion through softness, its tide. Every fearful thought contracts it. This is why our inner world matters more than you realize. The future may not be built only by governments or inventions. It may be quietly shaped by millions of ordinary people choosing extraordinary awareness. One conscious breath, one living response, one moment of genuine presence, again and again. If there is one purpose behind Adi Sweta, it is not to give you another philosophy to follow. It is to offer a space where your own inner wisdom has the permission to awaken. Not to replace your truth, but to help you remember it. Not to tell you what to think, but to inspire a different way of seeing. Because remembrance cannot be thought. It can only be experienced. Perhaps every synchronicity that brought you here, every question you carried, every moment you have felt that life was trying to whisper something beyond words, has been gently guiding you towards this realization that the answers were never outside of you. They were patiently waiting beneath the noises, and maybe the greatest conversation your soul will ever have will happen in complete silence. Welcome to Adi Sweta. Your journey to remembrance begins here.